Hey folks, welcome back to the farm. We have some fall canning to do. Been needing to do it for a long time. So stick around, we'll show you what we're going to can. So here's our sauerkraut. We're finally able to can this. It's finally sour enough for us. If you remember, we made this sauerkraut back when Ramona was here in July. And it's taken 5 months for this to ferment to the level of sour that we wanted. We keep our house a lot cooler here than most people do, so it takes a little bit longer to ferment stuff. But we're going to get it done. Now the difference that we're going to do here is most people would either put it in a quart jar or a pint jar. I'm going to go clear down to half pint jars because when we have sauerkraut, like if we have sausages or hot dogs or something like that, it's not that often. But the little half pint jar would be perfect for me and Kelly. We could use it up and not have that partial jar of sauerkraut sitting in our fridge. We have a real small fridge here on the homestead, so we have to be cognizant of, overfilling the fridge where we can't get at nothing. So I'm going to get downstairs. We'll get our half pint jars. We'll get our Presto digital canner out. We're going to use it for water bath canning today, and we're going to get this stuff done. So stick with us. Okay, we're filling our jars in here. Just grabbing it with some tongs and throwing it down in the jar. You'll find that it'll kind of make its own juice. When you pack it down, you really don't have to pour juice into the jar. Getting down to the nitty gritty, I pulled out 12 half pint jars. So now I just get a fork in here, clean out my funnel a little bit. And then when you pack it down, you will see the juice come back up to the top. So you really don't have to add juice, but there's plenty in the jar if you need to add it. Now the bottom of this funnel is about 1/2 inch headspace, and that's where we're at, and that's what we want. Okay, anything that looks like it needs a little more juice in it, we have our juice in a little measuring cup here. We'll just top up the juice before we put our lids on. If one looks a little bit too full, we'll take our fork and pull some out of it. Maybe put it in a jar that looks a little too low. Got all of our jars full. Got a little bit of vinegar on a paper towel just to wipe the rim of the jar a little bit. And if you haven't guessed, we're cold packing our sauerkraut. Now, sauerkraut is known to have some probiotic values, the natural sauerkraut, not the stuff you buy at the store. But after canning now, we're going to lose some of that. Still going to be beneficial because of the vinegar-like brine in there is good for you. But any probiotic benefits that you would get out of natural sauerkraut because of the heat involved in canning that stuff will no longer be alive, the good bacteria. So let's get some lids and rings on these babies. Alright, we got our Presto digital canner out. Presto is a good name for this because it's literally magic the way this thing works. So we've got it plugged in. It defaults to pressure can. So we need to put it over onto boiling water bath can. And you do that just by turning this knob. And then you push the button. You're going to put the time in by turning the knob. At our altitude, quarts would be 35 minutes. Pints would be 20 or 30 minutes. And we're doing half pints, so we're going to go 25 minutes. So we push it again. It says insert jars. And because we're raw packing, we're able to skip a bunch of steps. So we can just start putting our jars in here. The jars are already full, which normally with a hot pack you would do later. But a lot easier when you raw pack stuff. Okay, we got our jars in. Normally when you're pressure canning, there's a line inside the pot you fill your water to, then you put your jars in. I filled up to that line, but when you're hot water bath canning, your water needs to be about an inch above your jars. So that's about right there. So now that we've got our water and our jars in there, we're going to put our lid on. We'll lock it down. We're going to lock down our sensor arm. You have to make sure this is in vent mode. The instructions tell you to pull this all the way off. But as long as you're in vent mode, you're good. They just don't want you to forget is the problem. That's why they tell you to pull it all the way off. So we've already got insert jars. We've done that. So we push the thing again and it goes into a warming phase. So it's going to warm everything in there. Now normally you'd only have jars half full of water in there. And this canner warms your jars for you. But again, because we're raw pack, we can warm everything in the canner with it in the jars. All right, the canner says fill jars, so we press the button, our jars are already full. Now it's going into heat mode. If you missed our sauerkraut making video, it's one of the easiest things you can make. It's all it is shredded cabbage and salt. You can't get no easier than that. I will tag that video after the end of this one if you want to watch when we made the sauerkraut. All you gotta do is click on it once this video ends. All right, the warming cycle is over, but you don't have to do anything. It just beeps and goes right into the canning cycle. So this is going to start counting down, and when it's done, everything will shut down. Okay, our canning cycle's over. It's going into cool down mode all by itself, and then it'll beep after 5 minutes. Then you can open her up. Cool down mode is over and it says done. So you can open your sensor lever there and open the top. And then I'm going to let this sit for about another 5 minutes and we'll start pulling our jars out. Alright, got our 10 cans of sauerkraut, half pints of sauerkraut out of the canner. They've got kind of a white little haze on them because I forgot to put vinegar in the water to take care of that hard water stuff. But they'll wipe right off once they're cool. So we'll let them sit here on the counter and cool. But we're glad to get these sauerkraut jars done. So all we got left is let these cool down and get the labels on them and get them down in the root cellar. And we'll have sauerkraut for probably a good year. So hope you enjoyed our little video here on how to can our sauerkraut. And we hope you come back and see us next time here on Markelly Farm. Stay safe, stay healthy. Love you guys.